I grew up in the boatyard every day watching, what was happening, and there's nothing else I wanted to see but what was going on, what the day's progress was. And I couldn't wait to get out of school at 3 o'clock and, run down to the yard just to see what was accomplished during the day. And when it came my turn to do it, I kind of almost knew what I was doing already. It wasn't difficult for me. Actually, my father was in a good position because they did have the boatyard. The boatyard had the railways, and they did the service. So the fellows had to come to them for service. Mm-hmm. There was no other yard in Freeport that could do anything in those years. I mean, that could build a boat, that could put on, take the Salnada, for instance, and put this heavy rail on the front, which made a party boat out of it. And railways that could handle the Atlantic, which was a big boat in town. He built some of the charter boats that were at the Boatmen's Association, like the Rod and Gun. The Coast Guard came to the yard. Everybody came to the yard for something. My father had 12 men to 14 men, all through the late 30s. During the war, when the war broke out, you got into the 40s, let's say from 1941, 1945, it increased to 70 men. Well, I remember one good story about the boat Maureen. That was the 52-footer. The first night that boat went out of the inlet, it took 5 crew members. And they were all Freeporters. And they got out to the Coast Guard boat that was patrolling the inlet, and the Coast Guard boat stopped them and said, "Where are you going?" And they said, "Mackerel fishing." But as the Coast Guard boat stopped them and asked them this, 2 fellows from the boat jumped off with pistols. They held up the Coast Guardsmen. The boat went out, got its load of rum and liquor, came back through, went in and unloaded. Now, they sent a skiff out to pick up the 2 guys. When they sent the skiff out, they took $200 or $300 and they hid it in the Coast Guard boat. And they told the Coast Guardsmen, "If you report us, we're reporting you that you took a bribe." And the old guy that told me this, he was about 90 years old, and he said, "Ha!" He said, "What could they do now?" Another boat, the Bella Marie, was unfinished, and the boat wasn't to be delivered yet. It still had about a week to go, but the schooner was out there, and this fellow that owned the boat, this fellow Rudy, he just came down to the yard one night and jumped in it and just took it. It was his boat anyhow, but it still wasn't paid for or finished or anything. And he went out and got his liquor and stuff, and I guess he paid for the boat that way. Another fellow gave my father 2 houses for a boat. He was a house builder, and the houses weren't selling that easy, and he had built the houses, and I guess he had to pay the lumber yard and all his suppliers, and nothing was happening, and he was a boatman and a waterman, and he said, "Fred," he said, "look, I'm in trouble." He says, "I'll give you these 2 houses, you give me a boat." And my father gave him a boat, and he went out and got his couple trips, and he paid everybody.